Love or Madness. January 25th, 1892. A cold afternoon in Memphis, Tennessee. On the edge of a riverboat dock, a 19-year-old girl slashed the throat of her 17-year-old lover in front of everyone. This is the story of Alice Mitchell and Freda Ward, when love turned into murder and shook Victorian America to its core. But this isn't just a murder mystery. This is a story of obsession, where the line blurred between love and madness. In this story, you'll discover a forbidden romance that defied society's rules. A secret plan where Alice wanted to become Alvin, letters that exposed their deep obsession, a public murder in broad daylight, and the most shocking part, the court's verdict. Let's travel back to Memphis, 1892, where this dark Victorian love story begins. Alice Jessie Mitchell, born November 26, 1872, into a wealthy Memphis family. But Alice was different from other girls her age. While other girls played with dolls, Alice played baseball, football, and practiced rifle shooting. Her mother, Isabella, tried to teach her sewing and needlework, but Alice's heart wasn't in it. And then, at Hibbie School for Young Ladies, Alice met Freda Ward. Freda Ward, born in 1875, a beautiful, charming girl who became everything to Alice. Their friendship transformed into love. Alice and Freda openly expressed their affection, holding hands, kissing, embracing. In Victorian Memphis, this was called chumming, an acceptable female friendship. But for Alice, this wasn't just friendship. This was obsession. But the story takes a twist when Freda's family left Memphis and moved to Gold Dust, Tennessee. Distance made Alice even more desperate. She would visit Freda for weeks at a time, and the two would share a bed at night. But Freda, she wasn't as serious as Alice. She was also interested in two men. This fact Alice could not accept. And then Alice devised a plan that shocked Victorian society. Alice decided she would change her name to Alvin J. Ward. Yes, Alice would dress as a man, grow a mustache, and marry Freda in St. Louis as legal husband and wife. Alice would work and support Freda. Freda accepted this proposal, but their secret letters were discovered by Freda's older sister, Ada Volkmar. Ada immediately wrote to Alice and to Alice's mother, Isabella, with one clear message: stay away from Freda, forever. For Alice, this was worse than death. Alice fell into deep depression. She couldn't sleep at night, wouldn't eat, wouldn't talk to her family. She spent hours staring at Freda's photograph, reading their letters over and over. Alice would sign receipts as Freda Ward unconsciously. Her mind was fixated on one thing: Freda. And then, January 18th, 1892, one final letter arrived from Freda. Alice, I love you so much, but Ada has forbidden us. We can never meet, never speak. Farewell, my love. That day, Alice made her decision. If she couldn't have Freda, no one would. January 25th, 1892, Memphis, 3 p.m. Freda was visiting Memphis with her sister Jo Ward and friend Christina Purnell. They were returning to Gold Dust on the steamboat Oralee. Alice had planned everything that morning. She brought her friend Lily Johnson and Lily's 6-year-old nephew in a horse-drawn buggy. All morning, she followed Freda through the streets of Memphis until they reached the riverboat dock. As Freda, Jo, and Christina walked along the boardwalk, Alice stepped out of the buggy, leaving Lily and the child behind, and walked straight toward Freda. On the cold ice, on the frozen dock, Alice called Freda closer. And then, in 1 second, Alice pulled a razor from her pocket. The first strike across Freda's face, a deep gash. Jo Ward tried to save her sister, attacking Alice with an umbrella, but Alice sliced Jo's collarbone. And then, the final blow. Alice slashed Freda's throat, one deep cut. Freda, disoriented, bleeding, collapsed. And there, in front of the riverboat, that 17-year-old girl took her last breath. Alice returned to the buggy and told Lily, "I killed Freda. I should kill myself too," but Lily told her to go home and confess to her mother. Alice was arrested. Lily Johnson too, because police suspected Lily knew of Alice's plans beforehand. July 18th, 1892, Alice's trial began, but this wasn't a murder trial. This was an inquisition of lunacy. Defense lawyers tried to have Alice declared insane. 5 doctors testified that Alice suffered from hereditary mental illness, erotomania, paranoia. Alice's mother, Isabella, had suffered from puerperal insanity, severe postpartum depression, hallucinations. Doctors presented this as evidence of hereditary madness. Alice herself testified in court. "I loved Freda. I wanted to marry her. If we couldn't marry, then neither of us should live." July 30th, 1892, the jury delivered their verdict. Alice Mitchell, presently insane and dangerous, committed to Western Hospital for the Insane in Bolivar, Tennessee. Lily Johnson, cleared of all charges. Alice alone in an asylum. March 31st, 899. At just 25 years old, Alice Mitchell died in the asylum from tuberculosis, but her story didn't end there. Alice and Freda's tragic love story became a mirror for Victorian America. For the first time, there was open public discourse about female homosexuality, same-gendered passion, and obsession. Famous sexologist Havelock Ellis included Alice as a case study in his book Sexual Inversion, published in 1897. Alice became a type, a stereotype, the masculine lesbian, murderous, dangerous. Newspapers sensationalized the case. Headlines read, "A very unnatural crime." Society couldn't understand. Was it love or madness? Today, 104 years later, historians recognize Alice and Freda as a tragic chapter in LGBTQ+ history, a time when same-sex love was considered mental illness. So this was the story of Alice Mitchell and Freda Ward, an obsession that turned into murder, a love story that became tragedy. Was Alice insane or just desperate? Was this love or possessive obsession? Victorian society delivered its verdict, but you, what do you think? On Victorian Dark Mysteries, today we explored a dark chapter that history had buried, but whose impact is still felt today. If you found this story compelling, hit that like button. Comment below, was it love or obsession? Subscribe to Victorian Dark Mysteries for a new dark history every week, and ring that bell icon, because these dark corners of history teach us so much about human nature. Until next time, stay curious, stay dark.